I could go all summer not eat a bean. I like beans. I eat lima beans, green beans, baked beans, but it gets so hard at them picnics, potlucks, all them kind of things that you're going to go to in the summer times. I just soon get the fruit, the strawberries, the watermelon. I'll get peanut butter jelly sandwich. I'll get bologna sandwich, fried chicken, sweet tea, something to drink. But I'd go all summer without seeing a bean.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Friday, June 24th. This is The Drop, and this is your NBA Draft recap. I'm J.E. Skeets, and alongside me, thanks to the power of technology, we got Tass Mellis.
How's it going, everybody?
What's up, Tass? We got the bearded one, the master of the mixtape, Trey Kirby.
Hey-yo!
Hey-yo! We got the international man of mystery taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friend.
Lily. And in the background somewhere right now in Eastern Canada, I believe Moncton. He's in a cafe somewhere because he's got better Wi-Fi there. JD's pushing the buttons and making the magic happen. So he's here. Trust me. Shout out to the stream team for joining us live right now on YouTube. Subscribe, like, comment, share the damn show. Email in any and all of your NBA questions to nodunks@theathletic.com, or you can tweet them in at nodunks_inc. That's INC. And just a reminder, we're going for drinks. We really are. It's Summer League in Vegas, the first weekend of Summer League in Vegas. Come hang with us. It's just a little get-together, very casual, Saturday, July 9th at around 7 p.m. Eastern. Or, wait, not Eastern. 7 p.m. Vegas time. Time doesn't mean anything in Vegas, so it doesn't really matter. But just show up at a place called Starboard Tack at some point when the sun starts dropping a little bit out of the sky. Okay. Yes, so that's Starboard Tack, Saturday, July 9th, that first weekend of Summer League, a little No Dunks get-together. All five of us plan on being there, so it'll be a lot of fun. Well, let's just jump right into this because I feel like we had a lot to talk about. We had the NBA draft last night. I got a bunch of questions. A little later, I know you're excited, Lee. We'll get to the Kyrie Irving news. He's got a wish list.
I hope my Wi-Fi lets me down at that point, but we'll see. Okay.
But we start with the draft, and everybody in the stream team play along, answer your questions, get the debates going there in the stream team. The first one, Tass, you get us started here. Who is the biggest winner in your opinion last night?
Well, I think it's Detroit basketball. I think it's the Pistons. They came in the last couple of years, they've been scuffling, trying to figure out which young guys are going to take them to the promised land. Obviously, they got Cade last year. They had Sadiq Bey as an incredible shooter, but they wanted to add to that young core. They had the number 5 pick, and they were so happy when 6'4" Jaden Ivey, a score to put alongside Cade Cunningham, dropped to them. Everyone had Jaden Ivey as their 4th best player behind Banchero and Chet Holmgren and Jabari Smith. And the Kings were at 4, and they decided they were going to draft a little bit more for need with Keegan Murray as a wing versus a guard, which they've done before, drafting Tyrese Halliburton and Davion Mitchell when they already had De'Aaron Fox. That didn't work out. So they drafted a solid player in Keegan Murray, but the Kings not choosing to go with Jaden Ivey guarantees that he's going to be great for the Detroit Pistons. I don't want to do this to the Kings. I mean, it's fact. Look, historically, the player that the Kings don't pick gets selected by the team right after them. That's salivating, waiting to draft him. And then he goes on to greatness. Hate to do it. Got to show it to you, though. 2018, the Kings didn't pick Luka Doncic. They picked Bagley instead. We all know what Luka did. Way back in 2012, they picked Thomas Robinson. Damian Lillard was picked 1 pick later. And 2011, Klay Thompson was selected 1 pick after them when they picked Jimmer Fredette. I'm actually amazing. It is amazing. 1 pick after Doncic, Damian Lillard, Klay Thompson, and now Jaden Ivey. I'm an asshole. So is ESPN for putting up this graphic. Claire MPLS shared this yesterday, and everybody was loving it. Look, Jaden Ivey, it's hard not to like the dude. Just from a from a Holly McKenzie standpoint, from a rookie that we all get excited about. He puts his goals on his lock screen, just like Scotty Barnes of the Toronto Raptors. He's got his goals on there. Summer League MVP, Rookie of the Year, championship are listed. Then he lists All-Star more than just one time. Then he lists finished top 15 in scoring and top 50 in assists. This guy's got goals. And I think he comes from a great athletic background. As we know, his mom, Niele Ivey, played 5 seasons in the WNBA. Now she's the coach at Notre Dame. She was also an assistant coach for the Grizzlies. His dad and granddad were played in the NFL, which is pretty neat. So they got Jaden Ivey to go beside Ivey and Cunningham. And then a little bit later, they got the number 13 pick from Charlotte in exchange for, this is mind-boggling to me, a 2025 first-round pick that belongs to the Bucks. So it's not going to be a great pick. They got 13 for that. Plus, they had to take on Kemba Walker's contract from the Knicks. So they took advantage of another team wanting to shed some salary. Charlotte got their center at number 15 with Duke's Mark Williams. So they gave 13 to Detroit for what will essentially be a late first-round pick. And then Detroit turns around and goes and gets a center for themselves. You know, the rumor was that they wanted DeAndre Ayton this offseason. Well, they went and got Jalen Duren for the Memphis Tigers, who's 2 blocks per game. And the AAC Freshman of the Year, he looks like he goes and gets it. So this is a great move from Troy Weaver to sort of build within the draft. It's unlikely they go try and get DeAndre Ayton now. They got Jalen Duren and a scoring guard in Jaden Ivey to go along with Cade and Sadiq Bey, and they have Isaiah Stewart. They came into the draft with the number 5 pick. They leave with Ivey and Duren, and all it cost them was a late first-round pick. I'm calling it a late first-round pick because it's the 2025 Bucks pick. Giannis ain't quitting in the next couple of years. That's the pick that they got in the Jeremy Grant trade the day before, and they took on some money, which they had the space for. So they just jumped in ahead of everybody else who was looking to try and build up their teams through trade before free agency, and they did it damn well to get Duren and Ivey.
Trey, I know you agree with Tass with the Pistons being one of the big winners from last night.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I love the match between Ivey and Cade Cunningham. Cade plays at what seems to be a more deliberate pace. He's probably a better perimeter player than Ivey is, but if you're going to look at one weakness, perhaps, in Cade Cunningham's game, I mean, he's played 1 season. Things will change, but he didn't get to the free throw line a whole bunch. He's not necessarily a downhill driving kind of player, and that's exactly what Jaden Ivey is. It's going to be kind of similar, I think, to the Thunder teams that had James Harden and Russell Westbrook. You got one guy who can distribute and knock down shots from the outside and one guy who loves to get to the rim. It would be nice if they could get a Kevin Durant there in Detroit as well, but pretty solid to be able to get Ivey at number 5, and then picking up Jalen Duren, I think, is a huge thing because you would see some mock drafts where he was mocked to the Pistons at number 5 anyways. Yeah. So to be able to get him for Jeremy Grant, who wouldn't be a Piston after next season, a trade target for a long time, I think that's great value there. And I really don't think it takes him out of the DeAndre Ayton sweepstakes as well. Who knows what Duren's going to be in the NBA? He's certainly athletic. He could be anywhere from DeAndre Jordan to Bismack Biyombo. Productive player, no doubt about it. But maybe he could be a backup big behind DeAndre Ayton. Maybe Ayton with the stretch that he has shown in his career and the desire to do a little bit more. Maybe his perimeter game fits nice alongside a rim runner like Duren. So I think the Pistons did a great job getting a player who's going to help and also just maximizing all the assets they had. Great stuff from Detroit.
Yeah, you're right. Despite, taking on the Kemba money there, they have a lot of cap space still here to possibly be aggressive. Maybe they hold on to it. I know Miles Bridges have been linked to them too. Maybe that's sort of like maybe that's the Kevin Durant that they're trying to get there in rebuilding what the Thunder were doing back in the day. But we'll see what they ultimately decide on. I'm with you guys, though. I thought the Pistons had an incredible night with the number 5 and then making the trade there. With that 3-way deal, which was very confusing when it was happening last night, trying to figure out who was going where. And the Hornets had a center, and now they're getting another center. And what the hell are the Knicks doing? And they're just trying to make a move for somebody else. All of that going on. I'm sure we'll get into it. But Lee, any other teams that were big winners to you last night, or of course players?
I think the Houston Rockets can't complain at all because from my limited knowledge of the draft, I actually thought Jabari Smith was going to go number 1. I saw his name certainly floated as a number 1 in a lot of mock drafts coming into the night last night. He ends up falling to number 3. And so the Houston Rockets didn't even really have a choice. They just had to take him because he was the consensus next best available player. And I think he's just what they need as well. 6'10", he's pretty athletic. Now, again, who knows how these guys are all going to work out together. But if you pick 3rd in the draft and you get a guy who could have been number 1 because Banchero obviously could have been number one. Oh, he did go number one there last night, but you saw him and Holmgren. Basically, it was a toss-up how those three were going to go. So I think if you're the Houston Rockets, you're delighted to get that guy where you got him. And then they also picked up the other guy, Tari Eason, I believe his name was. Now, again, later in the draft, and they got Ty Washington. Great name there. Ty. So the Rockets really couldn't do much more than what they did last night. You know, they basically got, I know, for example, like some Rockets websites were big on Eason, and they were happy to get him. So I
think Trey wanted him on the Bulls if I read the tweets last night correctly. Is that right, Trey? So you're high on him.
Been a great
defensive guy. Yeah.
Defensive guy and plays at like an incredible tempo. So you can see him fitting next to Jalen Green really easily. And then, Jabari Smith. I thought it was kind of weird, honestly, that he was going to be the number one pick. Like, the NBA has changed a little bit too much if we're drafting 3-and-D wings number one. Like, Harrison Barnes would have never gone number one, and that's kind of who Jabari Smith reminds me of. But if he doesn't need to be a shot creator like he would have needed to be for the Magic, that's a much better spot for him. They're going to have a fun, exciting team that gets up and down the court and gives up a ton of baskets on the other end. So get in on the Rockets now before they had expectations.
I always like the guy too, Lee, that he seemed pissed off that he didn't go, one or two, and he falls to three. I think he's in a great spot. I agree with Trey. I like the pairing there with Green moving forward. I think he's going to be a fine player. But he's going to have a little chip on his shoulder like that. And that can work out well. We've seen that happen many times.
Yeah. I think it was CBS Sports reported that it was Bruce Pearl, his college coach, said, fine, pick him at number 3, give him some fuel to the fire. So
right.
Absolutely there. I mean, and again, I think like from what I saw, he was going to go number 1 most of last week. So something changed. I mean, certainly Banchero, I think, was even second on the on the betting boards going into last night. And then just before the draft, we found out that that's when the Magic were going. So that's great. I mean, because that we knew this draft, there wasn't a clear consensus number 1 when Hollinger was on our show the other day. You know, he I think had Holmgren going first as well.
Yeah,
so that's great. I mean, a little bit of intrigue there last night because there certainly wasn't a Zion Williamson in the draft where this guy was going to be picked number 1 from a year ago.
A little bit of intrigue. Unless you're on Twitter watching the draft. And,
then
you know from Shams or Woj generally who's going a couple minutes.
Well,
I mean, Woj was thrown this way and that throughout the entire day.
Yeah,
so
that's
I guess
true.
It depends on when you looked at Twitter.
That's
true.
Right. Saying there's no way Paolo's going number 1.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
There was one way.
But it's wide open now as well. It's not just those two. Like so many other people are connected, and it's now just like it's a crapshoot who gets that first tweet out there. So
I was a little disappointedly, I have to admit. You didn't have like the Dyson Daniels like scoop 30 minutes before the draft happened. You nailed the Giddey call last year. You were the only one out there saying, "Okay, see, they're going to be reaching early for him," and you were quiet there on the Twitterverse last night.
Look, I was working my source. Unfortunately, we couldn't figure it out there last night, so the source has gone to ground.
You only have one source in Australia. It's not Dickie.
So you only need one. You only need one. Okay. That's all you need. So I'm 1 for 1 still. I didn't want to go out on a limb there last night and spoil my perfect record. So next time I get a tip, I'll make sure it's a legit one.
Be honest with me. Did you have him going to the Pelicans?
Nah,
you just didn't feel confident. Okay, you did.
Yeah, who knows? Again, honestly, and I'll be honest, outside of the top 3 or 4, then for me it is. And even Tim Legler said that on the broadcast last night. He goes, I think it was after the 5th. He goes, it's a crapshoot. And Malika Andrews said, yeah, in a good way, trying to sort of save a little face there. But I mean, that's the thing with the draft. Most of the big players are taken in the top 5, and after that, then you are already hoping just to sort of strike gold a bit.
I think you're talking about Jay Bilas.
Yeah.
Oh, who did I say?
Tim Legler.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
It's a crapshoot. I mean, really there's only one white guy on there. It's crapshoot. It's either Legler or Bilas.
There was another broadcast too happening.
That's right. Yeah.
So then when you said that, I was like, oh, I wasn't watching that one. But then you said Malika, and I was like, wait, I was watching that one. So yes, good correction there from Lily. Well, here, Lee, I'm gonna tee you up for your classic line that you love to drop here on the podcast, because my winner from last night, and I'll make it quick, it's Canadian basketball players.
Homer.
You could say it 4 times if you want. Yeah.
I actually agree with you. I think you're going to get to one guy I think actually could be a steal of the draft.
Well, okay, interesting. I mean, look, it was a good night for Canada basketball. We had 4 guys going in the first, what was it, like 32 picks, because we had back-to-back at 6 and 7. Mathurin there, the 20-year-old from Montreal. who played at Arizona. He gets selected 6th by the Pacers. And then moments later, the Blazers, they take a chance on Sharp. He's a 19-year-old from London, Ontario. Didn't play a single college game, but Blazers keeping him right now at that 7th pick. And then 2 more Canadians go back-to-back in the second round. Nembhard there with the Pacers again at 31. Pacers, man. We're going to be talking about him all the time now here on the show with all these Canadians. And then Caleb Houston, selected 32nd by Orlando. What's the steal to you there, Lee?
Well, look, if I can be sold on a highlight reel, and I know you can manipulate a highlight reel to make things look better than they were. Mathurin, for me, I was like, wow, that guy was throwing down some vicious dunks. Yeah. His athleticism reminded me of a bit of a young Russell Westbrook out there, like just really explosive dunks. And I was like, whoa, okay, that dude seems legit. But again, no one's putting up the bricks. No one's putting up the air balls. No one's putting up the turnovers, I've heard. So a good thing that you can sometimes just make a highlight reel really sell you. But again, look to me, physically and ready for the NBA, which like someone like Holmgren to me doesn't look physically ready. I think he's going to be, now I don't know if he's a banger, he's a low post guy, but he's just so thin. It looks like he's going to have to be a perimeter guy. But this guy Mathurin, I thought he looked like a little bit of a power packet there. So I'm excited to see him play.
Power packet.
Term used. Well, there wasn't, again, last night I wasn't super excited for the draft like I have been in years gone by. But then this guy came along and I thought, okay, he looks like he's...
Well, again, we are not draft experts. No. I think we made that very clear. But people are saying he's like he's just like such a safe pick, I guess. Everybody's pretty confident this guy's going to be a decent NBA player. And then maybe even, of course, the ceiling higher. Because of the athleticism, because of what he did at Arizona. And I like the pairing in Indiana here with him and Halliburton. So good night for the first Canadians here.
He's the second from Montreal, isn't he, after D'Alembert?
Well, there's a lot
from Montreal. Joel Anthony.
Sorry. Yeah. I forgot about Joel.
Kemp Birch is from Montreal, isn't he? Or back at least. Boucher. I mean,
but he does have a French name. I saw Laurie Ewing of the Canadian Press said it's not Mathurin, it's Mathurin.
Yeah, they said it on the broadcast. Like the guy in the Barclays Center, he said it when they were introducing them. Like he really leaned into it. Yeah, the correct French pronunciation, but then. Everybody else is just saying Mathurin. Yeah,
that'll be the last time that we hear it. It'll be Ben Mathurin. I don't think it'll even be Benedict Mathurin. I think we're going to go short. But yeah, Mathurin and Shaedon Sharpe, 6 and 7. Only the second time 2 Canadians have gone top 10. Do you remember the first time? 2 Canadians went top 10.
It's Stauskas and Wiggins. Is it that one?
Yes. Yeah. 2014.
How do you think Jack Armstrong's going to pronounce his name?
Oh, he's going to go for it.
So anyway, you got Montreal, London, Aurora, and of course Tass's hometown of Mississauga represented there from the Canadians last night. I'll throw in one more just winner. I want to hear your take on it, really, Trey. I thought what the Sixers did last night was solid. 2 thumbs up, flipping Danny Green, who is injured, and the number 23 pick to Memphis for DeAnthony Melton, who a guy is under contract, who Tass, I think, shocked all of Twitter, myself included, telling us he's only 24 years old. It feels like he's like 34. But what do you think of that move from the Sixers side of things, Trey?
This is an awesome move for the Sixers. I'm a big DeAnthony Melton fan. 37% from 3 last year. It's just he's on the Grizzlies, or was on the Grizzlies. They've got a ton of players, younger players, if you can even believe that, who are just ahead of him in the pecking order. So, smart move for Grizzlies to move Melton and get a little bit of value back, and awesome for the Sixers. He's going to look really good, I think, playing alongside Embiid and Harden and Maxey. I think he'll be a solid scorer, and I think he's going to be one of those guys you're like, why did the Grizzlies let him get away? They just had a logjam at the position, but he's going to be so helpful, I do think, for Philadelphia.
Yeah, he automatically becomes their best bench player, right? Remember them in the playoffs against the Heat? They didn't have anybody off the bench. This guy is ridiculously so. You said 37% from 3. He only played 22 minutes a game, but he led the team in deflections. He's so good defensively.
He
knocks down
turnovers.
Yeah, knocks down 40% of catch and shoots, which he'll get on that team. He could play a ton. I mean, he could play over James Harden in fourth quarters. I don't think anyone should be surprised. I mean, he's just that good. He had 2 threes per game. Like he's perfect to playoff guys. He is really
Mr. Do anything. They call him down there.
Oh, do they?
That's it. Yeah.
And he's on a very team friendly contract too. He's only it's like I don't know, $8 million, I think, for the next 2 seasons. And probably that last year is not even fully guaranteed. I'm very doubtful it is. So yeah, great deal. And yeah, nice move. And I think Morey is looking at the draft going, and whoever we're taking 23rd is not going to help us. So, and the Grizzlies, they got a lot of contracts coming up here. What's that, Trey?
The Sixers need vets more than they need another rookie, despite the fact that Maxey has progressed so quickly. I also like what a lot of people are saying here in the stream team. The 76ers are going to be pulling a Melton and a Milton off the bench. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for the opposing teams to keep them straight. My Garden Shake or Mr. Do Anything.
Well, you think that's confusing? How about the Thunder taking 2 guys last night named Jalen Williams?
Double Jalen. It's like when the Bulls had Jim Boylan and Jim Boylan as coaches. Hopefully it goes better for the Thunder. And speaking of, I'll toss a quick little winner here, a player winner. I think Chet Holmgren is a winner in the top 3 because I think he's going to play with the best player from any of those top 3 teams in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Giddy's obviously going to be able to set him up as well. It just looks like a nice little core they put together with a guard, a wing, and a big guy. We'll see how Chet progresses throughout the season and throughout his career. I personally don't care that he's super skinny. Like, you can be skinny in the NBA if you play hard, and that guy plays really, really hard. But I also think it's nice that he gets to go to a place that's probably going to maximize what he does best, picking and popping and just being, playing alongside guards who are going to create for him.
Well, let's spin that into the next question here, talking Chet a little bit. Maybe that'll be your answer. Which of these top 3 guys last night with Paolo, Chet, and then Jabari, which one you think, Trey, is best suited for like immediate success? Like, you don't gotta like tell me 10 years from now, but like going into their rookie season, who do you think could be like the rookie of your favorite or, could just impress the most?
It's got to be Paolo Banchero. I think he's going to win Rookie of the Year. I think of the top 3, he's the only one who becomes his team's best offensive player and their instant go-to guy. He's just like the archetypal number 1 pick. He's big. He's athletic. He can score for himself. He can create for others. To me, of the top 3 with Chet and Jabari there, Paolo is the only one with a chance to become the lead for an actual offense. You watch him play, he kind of looks like mid-career Blake Griffin. He doesn't have the high-flying athleticism of the Lob City days, but the end of the Clippers days, all-NBA with the Pistons. That's what Banchero's game reminds me of, and he's going to get a ton of opportunities because the Magic are probably not going to be an incredible team again next year. Franz Wagner, is there. He's a big shot taker. I think, Suggs, I imagine, will get a lot of looks as well, but Banchero should be the focus of their offense. The weird thing to me, though, is like, why were the Magic keeping this such a secret who they were picking number 1? Right? Nobody could pick ahead of them. They were trying to convince people to trade for Jabari, I suppose, saying, we're going to take this guy. Does anybody want to move up into the 1 slot, help us out, and we can slide down to number 3? But a little too much obfuscation for me when you're the number 1 pick. Just make your guy, make him feel comfortable.
And they didn't even have a workout with him either, though, did they, Banchero? I saw that. Yeah. I saw that going around.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. I think you're right, Lee. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe someone just made a lot of money last night too, Trey, with all the betting lines getting funky over the last couple of days.
Not me. I put my entire life savings down when the line switched to Jabari Smith at 10,000 and minus 10,000. So sucks.
Yeah,
I was misled by some tweets.
Oh, sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, it was tragic.
Does anyone have a differing opinion than Trey Tass of these top 3 guys? Best suited here because of the situation they're in, the type of game they have in that rookie year.
I agree that Banchero is a guy that just can flat out score better than the other 2 dudes. I think as an offensive force, he is the biggest, beefiest of the 3. I think he looks like an NBA player already. In the clips that ESPN showed of him going up against Chet Holmgren, which is very funny because they show the number 1 pick, Banchero gets picked. Here, look at the job he did against a great defender in Chet Holmgren. Number 2 pick, Chet Holmgren. Look at the great job he did in a game against Paolo Banchero. They just show the highlights on the flip side. Oh, This guy's great. This guy's great. Let's compare him to a baby Giannis. I mean, the comparisons last night, they were going to the cream of the crop, right? Like they couldn't pick a decent player. Like they really raised the bar. Kendrick Perkins on the broadcast really raising the bar. But I think Banchero comes in and is that player. I think the more fascinating player is Chet Holmgren. Because of his frame, he's 7 feet, under 200 pounds. It just doesn't happen very often. Him and Poku are on the Thunder are both 7 foot tall, under 200 pounds.
Thin Towers.
The Thin Towers. I saw you say that. It's a good one.
Towers also works.
Yeah, that's a very good one. What like OKC has always been a little bit fascinating for the basketball nerds out there, but now they go and get another extremely long player in Ousmane Dieng, and they got Jalen Williams. 3 really defensive oriented players. Like as good as Holmgren is offensively, he's got handles for a 7-footer. He's got touch. He can shoot 39% from 3. Those 3 guys are really going to complement, Josh Giddey and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Jalen Williams, a guy out of Santa Clara, which is cool for us Canadians. He's 6'6" with a 7'2" wingspan. So him and Holmgren, it's just going to be fun to watch. They passed up on AJ Griffin, who apparently was the best shooter at that point in the draft, and he comes to Atlanta to play with Trey Young as a shooter from Duke. He's Adrian Griffin's son. So maybe I think that's a little confusing with OKC. I mean, Josh Giddey's not a shooter, but they're going. It's a Sam Presti type. He's got his type, long and defensive. Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, Ousmane Dieng to complement Shai and Giddey.
Well, there's a very long French guy in the next year's draft that don't be surprised if the Thunder roll it one more year for a bite at that Victor apple, but we will we'll see with that. I was going to ask you something off of that. Now I've totally forgotten. Lee, do you have any other thoughts on the top 3 guys there, or you think it's Paolo as well?
Well, I mean, all 3 of them should be starting and getting heavy minutes, so they're all going to have an impact. I mean, I think they're all guys that they're drafted to play straight away. So it just really comes down to, who I guess gets more opportunity within their own offense. And I think probably Smith does, but who knows until they get out there and play. I mean, like the Rockets, the Thunder and the Magic are all also, in the rebuild stage. So there's probably going to be plenty of minutes. They've drafted these guys because they see them as the future. So they're going to want to have them out on the court and having an impact straight away. So who knows? Probably Banchero, I suppose. I mean, he went number 1, but I really don't know exactly for sure until we see them play.
Yeah, I just remembered what I was going to say because you were talking about obviously Holmgren's size, Tass. That was the biggest pop in my house. Nora watching the draft sort of with me. When they did the whole, like, they come out with their family at the beginning. They do the little catwalk there. She went nuts when Holmgren came out with a very tall mom and then an even taller father who played right at Minnesota, I guess. Like, it's wild to see the dad 7 feet taller than the son 7'2", and then the mom, I'm sure, was like, she appeared to be like 6'6" or something like that. So Nora got a kick out of that. She said he looked like a praying mantis.
I got tweets last night that saying the dad looked like if me and Shawn Michaels had a baby.
I see it. I can see it.
A 7-foot Shawn Michaels.
Oh yeah, he was the dad who's recorded every single one of his games, even through college. Yeah,
on the old camcorder.
And he's not going to stop, even in the NBA, apparently.
Oh wow, good. Okay. We'll flip this on its head here, Lee. We've been too kind to a lot of these picks and players and stuff like that. Which team had the most confusing draft night to you?
Well, it's the New York Knicks. And when I put that in the doc this morning, I thought I'll just, go over and make sure I've got everything right. And I still don't quite know exactly what they did here.
Do you want me to tell you or no?
No. I think I've got most of it figured out here because they were obviously, look, their focus is on free agency, I think, right now. So what they did was they traded the 11th pick to OKC, which was the French player Dieng there. And OKC in return gave them 3 first-round picks for next season, but all of those pretty much protected 14 and up to 1. So no real great picks in that sense for me. Right. But then they also traded their 23rd pick and sent 4 second-round picks to the Charlotte for the 13th pick. They then traded that 13th pick and Kemba Walker to Detroit for Milwaukee's 2025 first-round pick. So then the Knicks traded in total 11 trades they made. I believe this is right. Kemba, they get 4 second trades.
Rounds. What the hell are you talking about? 11. No.
Sorry. See, I knew I wasn't going to get.
You had it. You should have stopped there.
I know.
You were done.
Yeah, ultimately, they basically traded down this year to get more assets for next year, with their focus, I think, being on free agency, Jalen Brunson right now, to carve out a bit of cap space.
Right.
And ultimately, they're just trying to acquire assets. So they get off Kemba Walker. They don't really take a pick this year.
Mm-hmm.
If they can make that free agency splash that they're hoping to, which hasn't really worked in the past, but if they can do it this season, then they do have assets at least next season to play with for other deals. So I think it wasn't a disaster for them, but it sort of seems a bit weird that you had a higher pick and you traded down for low ones. The protections on them as well, for me, were just a little bit weird. I think Sam Presti, because he's got so many, were kind of like, yeah, you can have these ones because they won't be that valuable in the long run. So, it's a bit of a crapshoot again with the Knicks. I don't think it was they were really getting lit up for it on Twitter. I don't think it was a complete disaster, but did seem a little bit confusing, the direction they chose.
Confusing? Yes, you answered this correctly, because it was. In total, the best way to put it is they traded the number 11 pick this year, 4 future second-round picks for $9 million in cap space, and then 2 protected 23 firsts, and that Bucks protected 25 first. That came in the whole Jeremy Grant trade, which now is on the Knicks. So, yeah. Well, what do you think of it, Tass, what New York did last night? And I guess where they're going here with their cap space, are they going to be very aggressive for Jalen Brunson? Are they going to try and get in the Kyrie Irving sweepstakes? Is there somebody else? What do you think?
I think, because the draft is in New York, it feels like, oh my God, they screwed up. Everybody was waiting for them to make a pick. They didn't. But when they screwed up was last year, when they signed all those players to long-term deals in free agency, because they had all that cap room, and Evan Fournier and Alec Burks and Nerlens Noel. And they tried to rectify it this year by trading away Kemba Walker, getting off that money, and getting future first-round picks. I think all in all, it was a good night. They didn't get a player in this draft, but they're going to get multiple players in next year's draft, and they got off money, which they're starting to, again, try and clean up their books, which they really muddied up last year. So I think it is a good move when you talk about next year, and they have all the draft assets. They also will eventually have guys coming off the books, and all of those sort of mid-tier guys that Tibbs wanted because he think it would take them over the top. But I think they're going to continue to cut money. Like Taj Gibson is somebody that they could let go. There's others that they could let go in hopes that they could get somebody like Jalen Brunson or the juicy Kyrie Irving rumors that we'll get to a little bit later. Because I think they're setting themselves up for what as long as they don't screw it up. As long as they don't, sign. I think the fact that they screwed up last year by getting Fournier and all those dudes. If they don't do that again this year, I think that's a win. So they got off Kemba's contract for more picks. I don't understand why it's really a bad thing at all.
Well, okay, but Knicks fans are freaking out. Let's play this out, that they throw $26 million per year at Brunson. Like, they got his dad in there. There's connections through Leon Rose and all of that. And like some Knicks fans are like, yikes, this is the guy that, we're giving like, not max money to, but a big contract to. Like, he's the savior. No, I love Jalen Brunson. I think he'd help them a hell of a lot, but that's the worry.
They gave 40. They paid last year. They paid a combined $40 million for the services of Fournier, Burks, and Nerlens Noel for last year alone. If they gave 25 to Jalen Brunson for this coming season, he is their best player. I think he's better than RJ Barrett, and he's
not an all-star though. That's the point, is that they're clearing all this cap space to go for a guy who's like a number 2 or number 3 at best. And that's what the worry is for the Knicks. Especially, you mentioned all these picks. Like, most of those picks are probably going to have to be used to get off of a Fournier contract, to get off of a Nerlens Noel contract. I think that's why Knicks fans are worried. They're saying, why are we doing all of this for Jalen Brunson or for Kyrie Irving? There's a good chance they don't get either of them. And they're just trading lottery picks to salary dump when you're one of the richest franchises in the league.
Yeah, I get, yeah. So it is, to me, it's, what do you do with this cap space and what do you do with those picks? But they turned, the 1 pick into 3, and they're a little bit further down in the draft. But to me, it's fine because they're trying to clear their books. Now, if they muddy them up with more dumb contracts, then of course it sucks. But I think they're trying to get off the deals that they signed last year, really.
Lee, what do you think of the Knicks trying to throw the bag at Jalen Brunson? Love it, hate it, indifferent?
Well, yeah. I mean, look, they've want him there and they're prepared to pay a price to get him. They do think he is probably better than, I think he's one of those players who looked good there for the Mavericks in the playoffs, especially in that first round against the Utah Jazz, faded as the sort of series in the playoffs went on. But for the Knicks, he's an immediate upgrade. They've really struggled. Obviously, they went for Kemba Walker last season and couldn't get away from him quick enough. So they need an improvement. They need a steady hand there. I think Jalen Brunson's a very steady player. But as far as improving the team, a handful, a few more wins, sure, but they still need a way bigger splash to really significantly improve. So I think ultimately they're just trying to not screw up too badly. And look, if they take Dieng themselves at 11, that probably doesn't move the needle all that much for them either. So I think they are just looking at a different approach of like acquire assets unless you've got a surefire guy that you want in there in that draft. And that's potentially what they're doing. And then hoping they can strike gold in free agency. But it's these things.
It
just
never
don't
happens for the Knicks.
No, they don't seem to work out.
Agent.
No, so they end up.
They tried to sign Michael Jordan. I remember people thought Michael Jordan was going to the Knicks way back when. This is the story of the Knicks. They get cap space and then they get burned, and you end up with Amari Stoudemire. He gets hurt, and your franchise is set back for 10 years. And then we've been waiting for a Knicks move, and this feels like it might be the Knicks move because it's weird to go back to like last year. People were excited about Fournier and Kemba Walker saying, "Hey, at least they're on short contracts. If they have a decent season, you can trade them for something in the future." Then they get to New York and it went incredibly poorly. And now their trade value is you're having to throw extra picks on it. I think if they just call it after trading the 11th pick for 3 future first rounders, that's fine. If you're not in love with a player in 11, take 3 more shots. Later on, you've got draft assets. But then doing the salary dump for Kemba was disappointing.
Yeah, I guess by all accounts, well, it felt like 10 other teams were also trying to do it, but everybody trying to get Ivey from the Kings at 4 if they were going to take him, or then of course from the Pistons who get him at 5, and saw Spike Lee talking to him. And again, there was reports going around that they were maybe aggressive at least in trying to get him, seeing him as their future guard to take him to the promised land. But obviously Pistons wisely looks like they're holding on to him. And the core they build in there with Cade and Bay and B. Stu and all those guys in Detroit. Interesting, confusing night for the Knicks. You got to love it. Any other teams, Trey, that you'd add to the confusing list from last night that you were just like, oh, that's a weird pick, or what are they doing?
I think the biggest confusion for me is where my trade's at. We got this super confusing one. We definitely had some 20s and 30s and mid-20s moving back and forth. But no big players. I mean, we're talking Jeremy Grant was the biggest player moved this week. Christian Wood in the mix as well, kind of equivalent players, all things considered. But that's how it is. They always get you, man. Every year going into the draft, going to be a lot of movement, a lot of talk out there. Then we come to the draft and it's, mid-tier players for the most part and later round picks. It's almost the exact opposite of the trade deadline. Every year at the trade deadline, this is going to be a slow one. Nothing's happening this year. Then we get 1 hour before the trade deadline. There's a million trades. So I got fooled once again. I was looking forward to some emergency podcast. I was thinking we're talking John Collins. This is going to be exciting. Nope.
No. And that's what we were thinking yesterday. If you want to hear our thoughts on, or at least Tass and I's thoughts on the Jeremy Grant trade to the Blazers, we had a podcast, a little emergency podcast up yesterday, thinking, like Trey said, there'll be lots of trades tonight. I mean, look, Collins, OG, Harrison Barnes, Brogdon, Turner, Gobert, and none of them budge yet. I mean, we obviously we have weeks here till free agency, and things can happen in the summer, and hopefully will. I mean, some of those names are going to get moved, no doubt. But nothing last night, Tass. We didn't need an emergency podcast.
No, I thought we were going to do an emergency podcast for the Raps draft pick, though. Christian Coloco, just because I wanted to say his name at number 32. Looking good. Is he 2 or 33, I guess? Yeah. Is he 2 years away from being 2 years away? I don't know.
He's from the exact same town, right, as Pascal Siakam.
Yeah, exciting stuff. But yeah, it is surprising we didn't get John Collins. I think Harrison Barnes finally has to be moved. They drafted Keegan Murray. It seems like the exact same mold as Harrison Barnes. Somebody wants Harrison. He's available, it sure feels like. Yeah. We may have been fooled, but we still got a few days, I think, before free agency. There's got to be some more movement happening.
I didn't throw this question in the doc getting ready for today's show, but which pick, Task, to you was like just the most, I don't know, I guess the best way to put it, like boring selection? Just like fine, Like, okay. Like, are the Spurs around 9 or the Wizards around 10, or is there something else I'm forgetting? Just like where maybe at a part of the draft, you're like, okay. Like Johnny Davis to the Wizards. Sure.
Yeah, Johnny Davis had me searching former NBA players named Johnny Davis. Was there one? Nope. He had me searching Johnny Gill. He had me searching for a lot of different names. Yeah, that one. If you're searching for other people like performers and stuff with the same name, I guess you're bored. The Spurs pick, no way. The guy with the likes changing his hair color.
Yeah.
Sohan, no way. I mean, he's a Spursy player. Excited for them. I mean, Nikola Jovic. Don't call me Jokic. A little boring. Danielle noticed on him, he doesn't have any chains like the rest of the players. I said, yeah, standard wear, but a different name. I love the highlights that they showed of him flailing around. It reminded me of Jokic, but I don't know how I hung in, but I hung in for a full round.
Wow. I was just going to ask you that. Yeah.
Danielle was watching shows on her iPad. She'd finish an episode. She goes, this is still going on? And she put her earbuds in, watch another episode. Are you kidding me? It's still happening? I was surprised that I lasted one round, but as soon as Mark Tatum, deputy commissioner, took the mic, I'm done.
You're out.
Yeah.
Well, you lasted a long time. Lee, how long did you last to? What pick were you bouncing out?
At the 18th pick, the Chicago Bulls took Dalen Terry, and Malika Andrews asked Jay Bilas what he liked about him, and he said, "Oh, he's a Swiss Army knife, and he's a good cutter." I'm like, all right, that's it. I'm done. If we're valuing guys on their cutting skills, I'm out. So I checked out after that pick. I'm like, okay. Even Jay Bilas is like, I didn't even have this guy on my draft board at this point. So good cutter, very general, Swiss Army knife, very, very general. So that was it for me.
I assume, Trey, maybe that's around where you started dipping out after your Bulls made the pick, or were you in it for the long haul?
I stuck around for the entire first round, and then I just heard the names that were going on in the second round. I think the last one I heard was Bryce McGowan's. I think he owned the apothecary in It's a Wonderful Life, Mr. McGowan's. You think people understand an It's a Wonderful Life reference on
Not
June 24th? Oh, Mr. Gower. Mr. Gower. I don't know. I went to bed in the second round. I went to bed in the second round because Dalen Terry wasn't getting me excited, Lee. They said he plays defense, but he can't shoot.
But he's cutting,
shooting.
man.
They needed defense. So
his cutting's great, though. Man.
Yeah, great cutter. Great catcher.
I tweeted that question out, but let us know in the stream team. How long did you last? What pick did you turn it off? I know there's some sickos out there. All 58 picks, through to the second round. Jeez, what time did it wrap up? Oh,
by Phil Law in the stream team. How do you guys call yourselves sickos? He's completely right. This is one of the shortest drafts in recent memory, coming in at a mere 58 picks instead of the usual 60.
I'm sorry. The NBA draft is so fucking boring. It's excruciating, I think. Like after an hour, I'm so done. I lasted till the 24th pick. I wanted to see, because I remembered this guy. I think he played in an all-star weekend event, right? Marjan Beauchamp, right? From the G League. And I was like, hey, I remember that guy. I know that guy. And he goes to the Bucks, and I'm like, okay, I was happy for him. And then I'm like, okay, I'm done. Because then you start getting into names I've never even heard of. I'm like, I don't no clue who this guy is.
That's like pick 4 for me.
Yeah. Well, you didn't even know who the broadcasters are. So
I got my Jay Bilas and my team leg letter confused. That's true. Hey, look. I actually thought Malika and Perk and Jay were actually pretty good there last night. Perk had a little bit of trouble with OG Anunoby's name, though. That got brought.
It wasn't as bad as Moses Moody as last year.
Yeah.
I thought they were good, too. I thought Billis, the Perkins and the Malika Andrews, that was totally fine.
Yeah.
Luckily, I wasn't watching the other broadcast, which people were complaining about. I had no idea that was even happening.
Yeah, was it Stephen A, Jalen Rose?
Definitely Stephen A, because that was a lot of the complaints.
And Spike Lee came in too, didn't he? At one point, I think there. Yeah, so
cool. Lucky. Many options. How you want to watch the draft? I had the second screen going with the Athletic crew there on YouTube, breaking down picks. I know Hollinger was on there for a bit. So, God bless NBA Twitter during something like the draft. It's a lot of fun. because just hilarious tweets. You're trying to make sense. You're getting leaks. If you're into that, and then half of them are wrong. I mean, it was wild there when that 3-team deal went down between the Knicks, the Pistons, and the Hornets. Everybody trying to make sense of what the hell the picks were and who was getting what and what was going on. And that was fun for a little bit.
That was fun. Hey, you got to know the players, like you said, Skeets. If you were excited about a G League Ignite guy,
yeah, because I knew who he was.
Yeah, if you don't know the players, then it was definitely a bit of a slog at times. What about Sam Unono's suggestion here? What if they went from the bottom to the top, start at 58 down to 1? It really wouldn't work for trades and all that, right? Like,
yeah, but it'd be hilarious, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
it'd be more
mind it. Maybe
intriguing.
What about like, Trey, is there a way we can make this like the Royal Rumble somehow too? Like, where the rookies all coming? No,
no, I don't. I think it's got to go in chronological order, unfortunately. Okay. I think it does have to go 1 to 58 or 60. Otherwise, it's too confusing. We can't have Hugo Besson going number 1. That'll throw everybody off.
Yeah. I don't know. All right, let's take a first break here. And when we come back, more on the draft, because we'll get into the hilarity of it all, the best dressed and our favorite moments. And then we'll get to talking about Kyrie. So don't go anywhere.
Peloton! Our old friend. It's been a minute since we've talked Peloton around here. You all right, buddy?
I'm fine. Yeah.
Couldn't just have it on the table from the get-go.
Oh, it has been a minute since we've talked Peloton around here, but guess what, Tass?
What, Trey?
Peloton is still pushing you further with so much new classes, new music, new ways to keep your workouts fun and motivating, because keeping things fresh is the best way to stay motivated and keep from burning out on doing the same thing over and over. What kind of new, you ask, Tass Mellis?
Yes.
Well, I dipped in today to look ahead to my yoga workout later, and I found a variety of interesting classes. They've got Juneteenth classes. They've got Father's Day classes. They have Muhammad Ali shadow boxing cardio.
Oh, that'd be tough.
I see they have Anna Greenberg doing prenatal and postnatal yoga classes while pregnant. They even have a Barbara Streisand yoga class, which is what I'm probably going to be focusing in on here. Because Peloton really does have a workout for every goal, day, and mood, and today is a Streisand kind of day. So stay motivated while having fun with bike workouts, yoga, meditation, dance cardio, and more. Visit onepeloton.com to learn more. That's ONEPELOTON.com.
Lee, tell me if you agree with this statement. Shopping for new clothes can be time-consuming and stressful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I personally hate it.
I do too.
And I like clothes.
I do too.
But
I can't just go
searching.
like without knowing what I'm looking for, like just to go browsing. I've got to be like, this is what I want, this is where I'm going.
Well, why not let Stitch Fix do all of the work so you can spend more time doing things you love? Shooting hoops, eating bananas, napping,
yeah, sometimes, yeah.
It's easy and fun to get started with Stitch Fix. First, you take a few minutes to set up your Stitch Fix style profile. You answer a few questions about what you like to wear, shirts, what you don't like to wear, pants, and how open you are to trying new styles. Very open.
That's actually interesting for me because I'm like you. I like wearing shirts.
Yeah.
I don't like wearing shorts.
You don't
I
like wearing
prefer pants.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I wore shorts for the happy hour that one time.
Yeah.
Too much leg for me. But I love trying new styles.
Oh.
So maybe.
Hey.
You give me a long enough short.
That's why we have different profiles. That's the beauty of Stitch Fix. So then you do that, and then Stitch Fix's expert stylists go to work finding items exclusively for you. That's right. Every piece handpicked just for you. It's unique to your size and your style and your budget, which is important, making it the best way to discover clothes that make you look and feel your best. Stitch Fix then sends you 5 pieces to try on at home. Okay, try them on. Look in front of the mirror. Go to Roxy. What do you think? And then you keep what you love, and then you send back what you don't. You always love this type of stuff. Shipping,
Absolutely.
returns, exchanges, easy and free. Plus, no subscription required. I know there's some other type of things out there. They get you with the subscription.
Yeah.
I'm not here. No hidden fees ever with Stitch Fix. So sign up today at stitchfix.com/nodunks and you get $20 off your first purchase. That's stitchfix.com/nodunks. Get $20 off your first purchase. Limited time offer. Purchase within 2 days of signing up. Here with the boys in the yard, Drop Podcast, talking about the NBA draft. Got some frivolous questions to get to, but I did like this tweet from our guy, Trey Kirby, this morning. Not last night, this morning. Ron Harper Jr.? Yep, related. Scottie Pippen Jr.? Yep, related, though spelled differently. Love that little twist. Kenneth Lofton Jr.? Nope. Man, that would have been fun. Kenny Lofton. Hadn't heard that name in a long time, Trey.
I think he was a basketball player, too. I think he played on a Final Four team when he was in college before, obviously.
Played with Steve Kerr, I think.
Yeah, before having his baseball career. So I was like, okay, this makes sense that his son decided to play basketball going into the future. No, there were 2 Kenny Loftons out there. They probably both had kids. Maybe they both named him Kenny Lofton Jr., but this other one became the NBA player. Who would have thought?
Wow. But that's nice, Lee. We have it feels like every guy drafted last night. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but a lot of them had a father play in the league or even a mother play in the WNBA.
Yeah.
Or like a high level in D1, either men or women. I mean, it's crazy, right?
Good genes, You're looking out there, look at the champions this year, Steph and Clay, sons of sons. So, hey. If you're in the NBA, good chance your kids might make the NBA as well.
Good genes, not an ad for Stitch Fix.
No,
it could be. Okay, speaking of jeans and Stitch Fix, best dressed. Let's just go to Trey Kirby with this one. Trey, overall, what'd you think of the rookie class and the fits last night? And then who were some of your favorites?
Well, I got to say, first of all, best dressed goes to FL Warrior here in the stream team, who said they wore their No Dunks t-shirt to the Amway Center for the Magic draft party. Got to be the best dressed at any draft party, I would have to think. As for the draftees' suits, I think a little underwhelming, Skeets. I don't think any of these were very classic looks, but I will say the most memorable, no doubt about it, one that we're going to see on slideshows for the rest of time, has got to be Paolo Banchero rocking the No Dunks purple.
Yeah.
Covered in rhinestones or trinkets of some sort, looking a little bit like a motion capture suit or a pin cushion or perhaps a Fabergé egg. This was not my favorite look, but this was a notable look.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, it looks a lot better with this purple background that we've
looks great with the purple.
Here. Like the No Dunks colors. You're right. I wish there was a little volt in there or pink in there as well. And he really leaned into the No Dunks look. But yeah. Bold look, Tass. What do you think about that one?
Well, that's why he couldn't be in a Royal Rumble with that suit. He'd spike people.
Dangerous.
With all those little thingies that he had. Those little
sort of like the Legion of Doom wearing their their
spiked
pads.
Their
pads. Yeah.
Oh yeah, ding the bell. You're disqualified, Legion of Doom guys, whatever your names were. You can't wear those.
Hawk and Animal?
Hawk and Animal. Couldn't think of them.
What a rush. Okay. Well, who else you got, Trey?
Straight up best dressed for me. We saw a lot of bold colored suits, and I thought Johnny Davis's actually looked pretty solid. I liked that he had the shirt that matched his suit as well. I guess you would probably call this a little bit of Wisconsin red. I also like his on his lapel, he's got a cursive J sort of brooch there. I thought this was a solid look. He matched the glasses as well. As I said, there was a lot of bold colored suits. Perhaps the most interesting to me, Jeremy Sohan, going with the lavender look from Indochino. I saw when I was doing a little research here. So I don't know if you can get that.
He's
on
got a bit
Indochino's websuit.
He's got a bit of Pitbull and Eminem in him there too, like just with the chains, the hands rubbing together, the bleached blonde hair. Yeah.
I hope he continues having various hair colors. They showed him with blue hair during his college time there. That instantly reminded me of Dennis Rodman, of course. So give him number 10 on the Spurs. Why not? I think that'd be all right. Another guy, or another trend we saw last night that you see here with Sohan is that he's got the bold colored suit. He's also got a chain. I don't know if he has a tie on, but chains were big last night. We saw Paolo had the P5. Chet had the dice, but probably my favorite chain last night was Tari Eason, who had an Atari logo for his chain. I thought that was cool. He also went with a wild green suit, looking a little bit like the Riddler, and look at the collar on his shirt. It goes 2 to 3 buttons high up his neck. You guys know I love a long neck, and that is quite the way to accentuate it. I feel like his entire fit is based around showing how long his neck is, and I simply have to respect it.
I think it was his grandma, or maybe his mum called him peso because he's a money bucket or something like that. It's like,
the jumper's money.
Yeah, the jumper's money. Yeah, so that was a bit of a Penny Hardaway throwback I saw there because his grandma called him Penny because he was shiny like a penny. I thought he's in peso. Nice. So yeah, I loved him and Banchero because for me, my favorite Joker of all time is Cesar Romero, and that's who Banchero looked like in that suit. And then we got the Riddler as well. Yeah. So I was like,
that's pretty
funny. That was Batman.
Well, there was no Batman, but there was a commissioner. Not Commissioner Gordon. Instead, it was Commissioner Silver. So he was the chief of police there.
I would say the guy carrying what is most charitably described as a utility belt, just like Batman did, has got to be Benedict Mathurin, taking the red carpet, wearing an Axe body spray bag with a can of Axe body spray coating
what?
it.
So okay, Trey.
I mean, get the literal bag here.
Yeah, I saw this photo going around. Like, obviously, this is like before the draft when they're doing like the little, the carpet walk there, red carpet. And I was like, at first, I loved the suit. Okay, wow, bold. I mean, he's got a personality if you're gonna wear something like that. But I didn't even notice at first the Axe part of this.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting paid. And then until you said it this morning, I was like, oh my God, wow. Hope you saw some dollars. Of course he saw some dollars for that.
Exactly. Getting paid before he even signs the first contract, which very smart. But I'm like you, Skeets. I was like, oh, he's just deciding to wear a bag. Interesting style choice there. And then you enhance, and it's straight up Axe body spray. This guy's like, normally I stink to high heaven, but not on draft night. I'm smelling fresh, sport fresh.
That Axe is in the spray position as well. It's just ready to spray on someone. Hilarious.
All right, but a good look. You like the look overall, Trey? The suit, or
I thought his suit was pretty solid looking. And like you're saying, Skeet's a Canadian player wearing the red. I like it.
Yep. Any other notable fashion choices, Lee, that caught your eye? You already talked about all your your Batman villains.
Well, Chet looked like the bad guy in what's that movie with Steve Carell, like Minions? Doesn't he look like that guy because he was so long and he had the black?
He's hunched over too.
Oh, he's long. He's just long and in the dark suit there. I mean,
what's that guy's name? What's the Minion?
I can't remember. I should know it.
Gru.
That's Steve Carell voices him. But like when you are that thin, he really accentuated the thinness. I thought there last night. He looked like he was about 7'8" instead of the 7'2" he is. So, but and look, overall fine. I thought. I didn't. Adam Silver had his bro shakes on point last night. Didn't see him miss one of those, so I thought that was important for him. But fashion-wise, very good job, I think, by all the guys.
Yeah. I was really impressed with Chet Holmgren when he stopped by like the broadcast sort of booth and was chopping it up with them. I was like, oh, this. I didn't know. Like, again, I'm a draft noob. I was like, oh, this guy's got some swag to him. Like, he is confident. He was incredible on live television. He wasn't given like just generic shitty answers. He had a personality. He's talking about the chain and all that. I was like a little more in on him. I'm like, oh, okay. It feels like you like actually like playing basketball and the culture of basketball and all that goes into it. And it's not like you were forced into it because you're, 7 feet plus. So I don't know. I became more of a fan last night, Tass. Just hearing him chop it up with him.
Yeah, he put some thought into that die that he had on his chain, a 3 and a 4, representing his number 34. Then they add up to 7, which means something else.
It was like his USA basketball.
Yeah, he had it all. He had it all thought out. Yeah. He was great on the mic, and then Jabari Smith, I thought, was even more comfortable.
Yeah,
he was so good, really well spoken, just ready to take the league by storm. But yeah, I thought Chet was a little tired. I got to be honest. Long day, elbows, full elbows on the desk for the whole segment. He looked a little gassed when Kendrick Perkins was talking about playing in OKC. The eyelids were getting a little heavy with Chet, but
Yeah, it's a long
he
day,
hung
man.
it. He hung it. Yeah.
The other thing I like about Chet is the way he wears his hat. It's like very far back on his head, so
Yeah.
he's showing his bangs. Like that was the hottest thing in the 90s. So how far back could you wear your hat? I haven't seen that in quite some time. But he had it far back.
Yeah, that was part of an ESPN headline the other day, and I put it on Twitter because they're making the comparison to Kevin Durant, and that was what took me by storm. But everybody just commented on the poof coming out the hat because that's also very rare.
You think Matty Austin's a big Chet Holmgren fan because he's got the master poof there? It could be.
He's probably got top 5 poofiest hair right now in the NBA. Coming in, he's ready to contribute already.
Although Matt's taming it. Matt's like a 10-year vet. He's changed the poof.
He has. He's calmed
little
it down. He's
poofy.
controlling it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What was your favorite moment? You can go anywhere you want with this one, Lily, from last night's draft. What are you picking?
Well, we've kind of talked about it a lot, but I think when Jaden Ivey was drafted and seeing his mum there, the emotion there was the heartwarming moment of the night there, especially because, we've talked about a lot of the players being sons of former players. Well, Niele Ivey was also a former WNBA star. She's currently the coach at Notre Dame. And 3 of the players that Jaden looked up to were Skylar Diggins-Smith, Arike Ogunbowale, I think I said that right, and Jewel Lloyd. So it's great. Oh, Jewel Lloyd, yes. It's great to have, men having strong female role models like that and acknowledging it. And I just thought that was a great moment. So, he was obviously projected to go high. He did. And then just seeing that moment between mother and son was beautiful. And it was one of those moments where, you're watching it and you can sort of, you feel it inside. It pricks away at you. You're like, yeah, that is something that they really wanted to see together happen. And I thought the moment was perfect for it.
Yep, it was a good one. ESPN/ABC loving when the tears start coming too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, this is what we want. This will even get the casuals watching here and invested in these kids. But that was cool. And I even they had a whole video package too about all of the some of the prospects and their mothers helping them learn the game and obviously doing great things in the WNBA and again back in college. I thought that was really well done. What about you, Tess?
Also, yeah, just to jump on Ivy. A little Detroit connection there. His mom played for the Detroit Shock, and his grandfather played for the Detroit Lions. So 3 generations now of Detroit players. Pretty neat. His papa also played in the NFL. So it's kind of hard to see him not succeeding as an athlete. It's in the genes. And often we see guys tear up, but that was he just let it all go, streaming down the face. He looks like feels like he already cares. He's got the Detroit connection. He's already in it. I'm buying it. I mean,
he was also so much emotion because he's like, yes, the Kings didn't pick me. It worked. Me not wanting to go there. Me telling them do not.
Me not working out for them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's like, sweet. That worked perfectly. But yeah, very emotional. Nice moment. Do you have anything else, Tass? Any other thing?
No. But I mean, that's we're talking here on the day that Giannis Antetokounmpo's Disney movie comes out. I mean, Jaden Ivey's got. There's a movie right there. I mean, this is. Wow. We're probably the NBA draft. We're probably halfway through the movie, I assume. There's lots of build up. There's an hour of him in the gym already working up to this moment. As I said, he's got his goals on his lock screen that he looks at. He's got to be Summer League MVP when we go to Vegas a couple of weeks from now. He'll be Summer League MVP. Lock it in. It's on his lock screen. Great stuff. Great stuff from Jaden Ivey.
Trey, what about you? Any favorite moments from last night?
Favorite moment for me last night was when Paul got our electricity working again.
Oh, wow.
Stressful first half with the electricity constantly shorting out. We're trying to screw in fuses. They're just exploding. So I'm watching. I actually had a very throwback experience watching this draft because I had to watch it on my phone since we didn't have internet or TV here. So all I'm doing is focusing on the draft presentation from ESPN. So it was like watching it back in 2005 all over again. But then once, Paul got the wires looking right. Hook me up with that power packet. I was back on Twitter, baby, getting my jokes off. But they would have been. I would not have passed the like mental portion of the draft preview if they put me through like the ringer on that one. They'd been like, this guy can't keep his cool in pressure situations.
Oh, you're having a bit of a week though, with your car finally dying on you, and I guess now these issues with the fuse box.
Yeah, yes, indeed. I was getting pretty frustrated yesterday. Had to we finally sold our 2005 Toyota Highlander after 323,000 miles. Then the electricity went out in the house today or last night, and I'm just like, Laura, I don't know if I can take it anymore. She's like, we've always said we like to use things until they break. The problem is that sometimes they break. I was like, yes, you're right. Bars to you, you're right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All on the exact same day. But big shout out to Paul. Big shout out to my guy, Paul, rising up my draft board. So I would take him number 1.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, let's hear from everybody in the stream team right now. Your favorite moment from the draft last night. Also, which one were you watching? How are you consuming the draft? How long did you stick around? I already asked you that. And Scam God wants to know, just quickly here. This is just very kind of you, Mr. Scam God. How is Luna doing? A-okay. Pukes are done. I was talking with Tass yesterday live on the podcast. I could hear Luna puking in the other room. It ended up being 3 piles. Nothing too crazy though, and got that leaf out of her system, whatever she ate. She's back on the mend. So we're good. She was watching the draft with me last night. Okay. Let's talk Kyrie. Lee, how's your Wi-Fi?
It's struggling actually.
Oh, is it? Oh,
yeah, I've got it. Yeah, the boys are calling me. Yeah, okay.
Okay. So here's the latest. I can't believe this is I mean, I guess I can, but this is unbelievable. According to Woj, and Shams has some reports on this too, especially from the Kevin Durant side of things. But Kyrie Irving has reportedly created a list of teams he would like the Brooklyn Nets to consider working with on a sign and trade if he and the Nets can't agree on terms for him to stay in Brooklyn. Now that list includes the Lakers, the Clippers, the Knicks, the Heat, the Mavericks, and the 76ers. The best part about this task is none of those teams have the cap space to just sign Kyrie without Brooklyn cooperating on a sign and trade. And Woj is even saying, his sources say, some of those teams that he's listed, they have no interest in even acquiring them. Which is awesome. So
I'm showing up anyways.
Yeah, I know. Tass, what's your take on all of this? This list now from Kyrie and the sign and trade option.
Yeah, it's a funny story because he hasn't declared that he wants out of Brooklyn. I think Shams chose his words very carefully when he reported on it. He said, there's now an expectation that Kyrie Irving will now proceed shortly into finding a new home via an opt-in and trade situation. So I think the Nets kind of have to beat him to the punch here and try and get as much value for him now. I think they should trade him. It sounds a little crazy, but they need a player who is going to play, especially because they have Ben Simmons on the roster. And I think that kind of hurts Kyrie Irving's leverage, I suppose, or I shouldn't say leverage. I should say the Nets probably don't want to sign Kyrie Irving to a guaranteed deal because they have Ben Simmons on the roster and they don't know if Ben Simmons is going to play. So do you want 2 huge question marks going into the next season? I know Lee doesn't want to talk about it next season. I know all of us don't want to talk about next season, but I think the Brooklyn Nets, like, forget about the media. I mean, I joke about it, but I think legitimately they're sitting there and saying, do we want to do this again next season? And I know the rumors are that Kevin Durant is Kyrie Irving's leverage. Essentially, if Kyrie wants to go, then Kevin's going to follow him. But I think if you're the Nets, you got to do what's best for the team. They tried to do it at the end of the season by saying, look, we want to get back to a team building exercise here, a team, and not just individuals doing their own thing. They don't know if Kyrie's going to play. They don't know if Ben Simmons is going to play. But they do know that the free agency crop is not good. And so, like you mentioned, those teams probably some don't want him. There's some can't even jump in, but some can. Like the Knicks we talked about, if they can put a package together, I think they would trade for Kyrie. The Mavericks, they want to add in free agency. I'm not sure if that's a fit that they want. But let's say you can pry RJ Barrett from the Knicks or Jalen Brunson from the Mavs. If you're the Nets, those guys are going to play. And I think you kind of have to beat him to it before he demands it. The free agency crop is a week from now, or the free agency opens a week from now. I think you kind of beat other teams to the punch and move him. I know it sounds a little nuts, but the Ben Simmons question mark is huge. You can't go into next year paying $120 million to 3 guys and 2 of them not playing. And I know the Kevin Durant situation is a question mark, but you got to do what's best for the franchise here.
Okay, so Kyrie has until Wednesday, I think it is, to decide whether he's going to even opt into that final year of that 4-year max contract that he signed with Brooklyn back in whatever it was, 19. So, this is like a $37 million player option here that decisions are being made on. This is not even a deal because the guy barely plays or hasn't at least. Lee, let's go to you next here. What does Brooklyn do? You agree with Tass that they got to be like, look to try and get something in return, players, and you see if any of these teams that are on his wish list are interested in sending you something back. What do you do?
Yeah, I think the Nets know they actually hold some power here because Kyrie, if he opts out and becomes a free agent and leaves that money on the table, he's not getting that next season in a deal. No one's going to sign him, I don't think, to a massive long-term deal, mainly because these teams can't do that, the ones that he wants to go and play for. So Kyrie doesn't want to give up that, but he also doesn't want to stay in Brooklyn. So the Nets may as well try to trade him. And if that does facilitate a sign and trade somehow, I don't know if this is even theoretically possible, but if they could somehow get in on the Jalen Brunson, not that the Mavs necessarily would want Kyrie Irving, but if there is some sort of play where they can get a good quality player in return, they may as well play ball and sign into a sign and trade there. But again, I think all these teams that Kyrie wants to go to, okay, you can go to any one of them if you want, but you're going to have to go and sign like a vet min deal, something like
$6 million deal.
Exactly. So, and Kyrie doesn't want to do that. I believe. I think he obviously wants to try to keep as much money as he can. So he can't really just pick where he wants to go. The Nets can help facilitate something, but they do get then an asset in return. I think then you worry about the Kevin Durant situation, because if you get a good player in return, then maybe Kevin Durant's okay. But it's a crazy situation. Kyrie's future is not in Brooklyn one way or the other. So the quicker they can cash in and get something in return, I think the better for them.
This is crazy, Trey. I can't believe we're even like debating that it's like in the Nets' best interest here, possibly to like just cut bait with him, man. He's done this before with franchises, and just like, is he worth the headache at this point? We know how great he is when he plays, but should we look to get some more guys in? It's wild. I truly can't believe we're already here.
I think it's wild only because of the Kevin Durant angle to it, because I don't think it's in the Nets' best interest to trade Kyrie Irving if it means you're going to lose Kevin Durant as well. So I wonder if this is a little bit of a public negotiation from the Kyrie camp saying, if you're not going to give me the full max, a long-term deal, I'm going somewhere else. And, maybe we continue to hear this kind of stuff for the entirety of the offseason, just like we did with Ben Simmons last year. Ben Simmons was in camp and was with the Sixers for quite some time. So I don't think it's a done deal that Kyrie is gone. This definitely feels a little bit like, let's get some interest drummed up around the league, create some interest, and then maybe that will help our case going forward. But if I'm any of these teams, in particular, if I'm the Heat or the Mavericks or the 76ers, I would be trying to help the Lakers, Clippers, and Knicks get Kyrie Irving so that once he's traded, I could swoop in and try and get Kevin Durant, because that should be the goal here, is getting Kyrie off the Nets so that Kevin Durant requests a trade to another team, because that's the guy you really want from the Nets.
Yep. That is the huge, really question mark of all of this. How does Durant feel about the possibility of not signing Kyrie to a max and doing some sort of sign and trade? Like, Durant is under contract for a long time here. That doesn't stop any superstar player from saying, screw this. I don't want to be here. My whatever, if he's his best friend or the guy that he talked himself into teaming up with to try and get Brooklyn to the title, like, now that he's gone, I don't want to be here. Yeah, if it pisses him off, wow. They're in a tough spot. Their options are literally to find a way to re-sign Kyrie here, lose him for possibly nothing, though it's maybe far-fetched because Kyrie's probably taking one hell of a discount. But I still think if anybody is going to do it in this league, it would be someone who, like, he has his principles. And I don't know how important money is to him. Or they trade him in a sign and trade. And then either of those last two options, he either just leaves or there's a sign and trade. it's just like, how does Kevin Durant feel about it? That's the big question mark. Is he fine? Like Lee said, maybe if the player's coming back, he's all in. Okay, I've signed you under contract. It's okay. We're gonna tackle this. Or is he like, this is not what I signed up for. Get me out of here. Oh my God. So we'll see. Because I feel like it's a little unclear. I guess Shams was reporting a little bit TASS on the Kevin Durant side of things, but like who truly knows what Katie's thoughts on all of this are? I mean, I don't think we know.
No. Does Katie want to go to a fourth team? Who knows? It's odd that if we look back at the careers of both those guys, that we're going to see. I guess it happened, to a bunch of guys. Like Shaq played on 6 teams, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like Katie wants to keep bouncing. Like let's just keep bouncing around the league just because. I assume they both thought that they'd be in Brooklyn for a long time, and yeah, it feels like Kyrie's he's just using everything in his power to put pressure on the net front office.
Public negotiation, like Trey said. I can't remember many times where the guy, a really, really good player, is up for the possibility of an extension, but then is saying, if you're not going to sign me to the extension I want and the years I want, then here is the list of teams you can go nuts and try and trade me to. It's like, here, which one do you want? It doesn't happen all that often, right? Yeah. Trey, I mean, I see you racking your brain. What's the last time?
I'm like, it's not, I don't know. It's weird because it's similar a little bit to like Carmelo Anthony and Anthony Davis, where it's almost like the flip side of it, where they're like, you can't trade me there, or you don't want to trade for me because I'm not going to sign an extension.
Yes.
That we see quite a bit. So this is a bit of an ultimatum going the other way around. So we shall see how it turns out. There is still a pathway to them just doing like a 2-year deal, right? Or a 3-year deal.
Apparently he's been offered 2 years and 84 million. I think it was Mark Stein reporting that, which, I mean, I don't think Kyrie's going to get that from anywhere else. So if he's in it for the money, then I think that's a great deal for him. But I don't know.
And then I think we were already talking about this on a previous podcast. There was this whole report going around about games played. Yes. To then kick in more years and stuff like that. Honestly, from the net side of things, a pretty fair compromise. It feels like, hey, hit these benchmarks in terms of playing, and no problem. We know you're a superstar when you play, but we just have to have something on paper that try and guarantee us. But
I think though as well the superstardom of him. I mean, we saw him put up 60 against the Magic in a meaningless regular season game, but again in the playoffs, apart from that one quarter against the Celtics, he wasn't actually sort of that dialed in. And that's, I think, also a bit of a gamble you're taking with Kyrie is like, he can score and he can do all that stuff, but has he got a very strong reputation outside of obviously what happened in Cleveland when they won the championship of performing to a super high level consistently in the playoffs?
Consistently.
Yeah. I mean, we know he's one of those guys who can go out and get 45 pretty much any time. If he just says, I'm going for it tonight, he can. But there are other nights, as I say, in the most recent games he played in, where he looked like he didn't want to even be on the court. Mm-hmm. So that's a gamble as well that other teams are taking.
Yep. All right, we're going to take our final break. When we come back, Tassie's got tweet of the night, and we'll start wrapping this up. Don't go anywhere.
Are you trying to get slim for the summer? We'll take some tips from the No Dunks Magic Spoon crew. Because we're all keeping off the LBs, and we're losing that weight in the kitchen by starting our day off right. You may not want to go full keto, but you can do that with Magic Spoon, and it totally doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel like you're on a diet. It feels like you're cheating. Healthy, and it tastes great. Better than those other carb-free cereals. This is factual. That's a fact. I've tried them all. Magic Spoon, heavy on the protein, 13 to 14 grams, while having only 4 net grams in each serving. The honey nut flavor has only 1 gram of sugar, and check the flavors. Build your own box with 9 available flavors. Your own custom bundle can be made from cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, cookies and cream, maple waffle, blueberry muffin, cinnamon roll. Gotta try that, and honey nut. For real, those are all the flavors. Only 140 calories a serving, keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low-carb. And Magic Spoon just brought back their cereal bars. They were so popular that they brought them back permanently. It's the perfectly convenient on-the-go companion for your cereal. Go to magicspoon.com/nodunks to grab a custom bundle of cereal, and be sure to use our promo code from the Magic Spoon No Dunks crew. It's No Dunks at checkout to save $5 off your order. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. If you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember, get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/nodunks and use the code NODUNKS to save $5 off. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this episode.
New Starbucks Bio Energy drink with caffeine naturally found in coffee fruit. It's energy that's good. It's a refreshing, fruit-flavored boost of feel-good energy in a way only Starbucks can deliver. Because each one of these babies here, each 12-ounce, 90-calorie can contains 160
Move the
milligrams.
can so we can see it. Not that one.
Oh, he wants you to see the nutrition. That's the
yeah,
most
yeah.
important part.
Nobody cares about that.
There you
This
are.
guy in these cans.
Yeah. Okay, where is it? There we go. There we go.
We
Look
got
at it. Right. Now, my favorite flavor is... Which one? Let's do a little press your luck here. Press your luck. Big dollars, big dollars. No whammy,
whammies.
no whammy. Stop. Yes.
Wow.
Pineapple passion fruit. That's my favorite one here. It's so juicy and refreshing on a hot, beautiful Atlanta day down here. Man, it's been stinking hot down here. So this
It
is
wasn't
what you
too
need.
bad yesterday.
No, yesterday actually wasn't. We had wind, which was incredible.
It was nice.
We
That
had
was
wind.
breeze.
We had a breeze.
It
It
was
was like, what
exciting.
is this?
But you're right. Otherwise,
Oh,
it's been
last week
unbearable.
was gross. Yeah. Starbucks Bio Energy drink packs energy and flavor that gives me the boost when gearing up to watch the big game. Head on stage for a show. I'll go on stage for a show, why not? Yeah. Sure. Or just go from meeting to meeting. Starbucks Bio Energy drink is available online at grocery stores, convenience stores, and gas stations nationwide.
Nice final look there at those cans.
Yeah.
Now that we got them all lined up.
Oh, man, that was very trippy there. I was just typing JD in a private chat, and then he was yelling at Lee. I thought he was yelling at me during that. So trippy.
Caught you by surprise. Let's get to tweet of the night.
Tweet of the night. Wow.
Twitter. Yes, we mentioned that it was a good night for the sons of former both WNBA and NBA players. Now, 3 specific sons of former NBA players went undrafted, but then they inked some deals right after the draft. So this was pretty cool. Another O'Neal in purple and gold, Sharif O'Neal, signing with the Lakers to play in Summer League specifically. So we'll see him, Sharif O'Neal, with the Lakers next week when we go down to Vegas. And then Vanderbilt guard Scottie Pippen Jr. has agreed to a 2-way NBA contract, also with the Lakers. Scotty with a Y. Doesn't want to spell it like Dad. And Ron Harper Jr. signed with the Raptors, a 2-way deal with the Raptors. So just want to highlight those guys. I know they were mentioned in passing there, but Sharif, Scotty, and Ron, all sort of in the league at this point. 2-way contracts for a couple of them in Sharif's Summer League deal.
Trey, you would probably know. Wasn't the whole thing with the original Scottie Pippen is that it was spelled Scotty with a Y, and then it was like screwed up and they just ran with it? Is that what happened?
Yeah, that's basically exactly what it is. I think even if you go back and like watch original Scottie Pippen Sr. getting drafted, I think it says Scotty with a Y on there.
Yeah.
He said it's Scotty with a Y, and they said, no, it's not. It's Scotty with an IE. But as it turns out, 30 years later, it is Scotty with a Y. He knows how to spell his own name. I didn't see Kenny Lofton Jr. on there, though.
No.
He didn't make it.
Stolen bases are down, so
Wow.
didn't put him in there.
Yeah.
Who drafted Vince Coleman Jr. last night in the NBA?
Nice.
Thanks.
Nice Mets Cardinals rap.
What do you got there, Lee? What were you
Well,
going to say?
I just seem to remember when David Stern drafted Pippen, he called him Scott Pippen. He was just straight up a Scott, not a Scotty yet. So I'm not sure when he got the Scotty. Yeah.
This Scotty thing is crazy though. Did Scottie Pippen, like again the OG one, the Hall of Famer, like did he change his name legally to the spelling to IE, or is it still with a Y? And I gotta know that now. I mean, it's everywhere. It's Scotty IE, but it's actually
Even on
not
Basketball Reference, it says born Scotty, Cotty.
That's amazing.
But is listed under SCOTTIE. Crazy stuff.
I was even back with like the juniors. Like, what are we doing with Jabari Smith? Are we saying Jabari Smith Jr. or Is
I
he
don't
just
feel
Jabari Smith?
Yeah, I don't feel the junior's been sort of prominent at this point.
I don't
think,
either.
and I think if it's not in there from the start, you don't want to need to add it. We've got too many juniors and seconds. And,
Yeah, there are a lot of
His
juniors.
dad played in the NBA, though. I think he is
Yeah.
probably the most forgotten dad played in the NBA. They were showing clips of his dad played college basketball with Stromile Swift. I'd love to see a
Oh my
Stromile
God.
Swift Jr. in the NBA at some point.
Oh, yeah, that'd be really nice. All right. Yeah, I'm with you, Lee. I feel like we weren't seeing it, but then I noticed it last night. So a decision needs to be made. What we're doing with Jabari Smith? Are we adding the junior? Are we cool? Just like letting it go by the wayside? I guess we better ask him. Although it turns out we don't have to ask any of these guys. We just changed Scottie Pippen's name. We're like, no, not going Y. It's IE. Thanks. Let's call it there.
Thanks.
Probably a good spot. Email in your NBA questions to nodunks@theathletic.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok at NoDunksInc. That's INC at the end. Don't you go changing that to INK. Don't you dare. Grab yourself an Athletic subscription. Go to theathletic.com/nodunk so they know that we sent you. Great deal going on right now. I mean, now more than ever with Hollinger and Sam Pacini and all of our NBA reporters just knocking the 2022 NBA draft coverage out of the damn park. Like they were, did Kenny Lofton hit home run? He must have went yard a couple times.
He had a few leadoff dingers.
Yeah,
He's no
sure.
Marquise
He's no
Grissom,
Brady
but come
Anderson,
on.
but yeah.
No, George Springer.
Yeah.
That's a modern reference, man. Unfair.
Ricky Henderson, number one. Actually, because I saw a graphic. All-time leaders in home runs.
Home runs. Yeah.
Leadoff home runs. Ricky Henderson, far and away number one.
Who's two?
Might be George the Hammer Springer. That's not his nickname, but current Springer for the
Already?
Blue Jays.
Brady
He's-
Anderson.
he's
I
close.
said- I remember him going.
that
one year
was
when he
just
all
the
juiced
juice.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
Maybe.
throw Alfonso Soriano into the mix for most leadoff home runs.
Wow.
Fat check it, suckers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. 4040 himself.
Anyway, the point of that, go get yourself an Athletic subscription. Go to theathletic.com/nodunks. Okay, scheduling note here for everybody. Barring big news that warrants some sort of emergency podcast, it could be a John Collins like trade, it could be a Rudy Gobert trade, it could be one of these sort of bigger names being moved. Unless that happens, we're going to take a week off from producing classics, recharge the batteries a little bit, get ready for free agency, get ready for summer league, and all of our summer content. So next week, unless there's some, juicy trades or some Kyrie explosions happening, we'll be taking the week off, and you won't have any classics in your feed here on YouTube or on Apple or Spotify, wherever you listen to the podcast. So just so everybody knows, that's the plan as of from now, and then back later in the next week. Okay. Yeah, this guy's got to get his house in order. He's got to get his power back. Lee, I don't know what you're doing. You're probably going somewhere. You're probably traveling the globe over the next week here, for all I know. Tass, you got a birthday party coming up. You got I'm sure, schedule for one of your kids. So
I'm going to make Dolma this next week. Can't wait.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's exciting.
Does Luna have that leaf that she picked up? I'd love to make I need it, actually.
Okay, I can get that to you, no problem. But yeah, that's the programming here for No Dunks. No dunks next week, unless we get an emergency podcast. Thank you so much for everybody.
Wasn't he the pitcher for the Dodgers? No.
That's pretty good.
Nice.
That's good. Yeah, no bunts, by the way, is coming in the summer.
Yeah.
So if you want more baseball gold like this, then look forward to that.
Soriano was a 2-beer, wasn't he, Tassie? I remember from fantasy baseball days.
2 beer.
No one has ever said 2 beer.
2 beer.
All right, well.
2 beer.
But
I took a
not 2 beer. That is the question.
I just took a bit of a gamble there. I thought maybe they call it a 2-beer, but I'm pretty sure he was a 2-beer from fantasy time. So I don't know.
Yeah.
He was a 2-beer.
Thank you, Jay, saying
he wasn't like
deserves a
Zach
week
Lowe.
off.
I was
And I
going to
like
say
this. 10% Mark saying dunks next week. Okay, everybody can go dunk it next week because there are no dunks. That makes sense. Sorry, Tass. What were you saying?
No, you're right. He was a 2-beer, as in a second baseman. But he wasn't a 1-beer like Zach Lowe. Zach Lowe's a 1-beer man. Anyway, you're right, Trey. Soriano, I think, currently second behind Ricky Henderson. for most career
Nice.
leadoff home runs. George
Nice
Springer
call.
may have caught him. I don't know. He's right there. Craig Biggio, Ian Kinsler, Curtis Granderson, and Jimmy Rollins.
Oh, Curtis
close.
Granderson. I wish I
Curtis
said that.
Granderson,
I know
former
that.
Tiger, former Yankee, current Met, or
Played for the
one-time
Twins.
Met.
Yeah. Look at us. We know so much about baseball. It's crazy.
Hey, Kenny Lofton, 29 leadoff dingers. It's not bad.
Ooh,
Little
he
pop
went,
for
yeah.
Kenny? Okay, guys. We'll see you when we see you. Leave your boys.
Hold on, I
5-star
gotta
rating.
give a Johnny Damon stat.
Oh boy.
Just kidding. Pure jokes.
Leave us a 5-star rating and review wherever you listen, and download No Dunks, and hit that like button. Subscribe to No Dunks on YouTube. Okay, we really appreciate it. Tell your friends. Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, there are 3 Porters in the NBA, and all of them are juniors. Kind of strange, huh? Can you name the 3 Porters in the NBA?
Otto, Kevin, and Michael.
Otto, Kevin, and Michael. There they are.
Good stuff. Embrace the day, people.
You could stay